In 1947, Andy Dufresne, a respected banker in Portland, Maine, sees his life unravel when he is convicted of murdering his wife and her lover, a golf professional named Glenn Quentin. Despite his claims of innocence, circumstantial evidence, the discovery of shell casings, a missing revolver, and his intoxicated state on the night of the murders seals his fate. The trial is swift and unsympathetic, sentencing him to 2 consecutive life terms at SHAWSHANK State Penitentiary. From the moment Andy steps inside, the stark brutality of prison life clashes with his quiet, refined nature, setting him apart from hardened criminals and corrupt authorities who thrive within Shawshank's oppressive walls. Prison life is grim and dehumanizing. Warden Samuel Norton cloaks his tyranny in scripture, preaching discipline while exploiting inmates for labor and profit. Captain Byron Hadley, the brutal head guard, rules with his fists and unchecked violence. Andy, forced into the laundry, becomes a target for a group of predatory inmates known as the Sisters, led by the ruthless Boggs Diamond. They torment and assault him repeatedly, yet Andy endures, refusing to let Shawshank extinguish his spirit. His resilience manifests not in aggression, but in quiet defiance, a determination to preserve his dignity. Among the prisoners, Andy forms a bond with Ellis Boyd, Red Redding, a seasoned lifer and the prison's resourceful fixer, known for procuring contraband. When Andy requests a small rock hammer, claiming a passion for geology, their friendship begins. To Red, Andy's interest collecting rocks, carving chess pieces, and later asking for a poster of Rita Hayworth seem peculiar but harmless. Slowly, Red grows to admire Andy's quiet strength and unshakable belief in hope, though Red himself dismisses hope as a dangerous delusion for men behind bars. Andy's intelligence and calm resourcefulness gradually earn him influence. During a rooftop detail in 1949, he overhears Hadley lamenting tax burdens. With a banker's insight, Andy offers a legal loophole, suggesting Hadley shelter the money as a tax-free gift to his wife. His advice secures not just protection, but a rare moment of humanity. Hadley provides the inmates with cold beers, letting them feel free again, if only briefly. From that day, Andy becomes invaluable to the prison staff, managing their finances and tax returns, and soon catches the attention of Warden Norton. Transferred to the prison library, Andy works under Brooks Hatlin, an elderly inmate institutionalized after 5 decades behind bars. Andy relentlessly petitions the state senate for funds to expand the library, writing weekly letters until his persistence pays off. The library becomes a beacon of hope within Shawshank, offering education and GED programs to inmates who had long been written off. Yet hope is double-edged. When Brooks is paroled after a lifetime in prison, he finds himself unable to adapt to a society that no longer needs him. Lost and broken, Brooks takes his own life, carving the haunting words, "Brooks was here," into the wall of his halfway house. His death devastates Andy and Red, exposing the psychological scars of long-term imprisonment and the crushing weight of institutionalization. As Andy's reputation inside Shawshank grows, his role takes on 2 very different faces. On the surface, he appears to be the prison's greatest success story, a quiet, educated man who rehabilitated himself through service, running the library, tutoring illiterate inmates, and bringing dignity into a place designed to crush it. But beneath this facade lies a darker truth. Warden Samuel Norton, hiding behind his facade of righteousness and biblical authority, recognizes Andy's unique talents and chooses to exploit them. Under the guise of a prison work program meant to reform inmates, Norton uses cheap convict labor to underbid honest contractors on local projects. The profits from these deals are funneled into a carefully constructed maze of shell corporations, false accounts, and bribes. Andy, with his meticulous banking skills, becomes the architect of this entire operation. He creates and maintains the fake persona of Randall Stevens, a ghostly identity that exists only on paper but holds vast sums of laundered money. For the warden, Andy is indispensable. For Andy, this work is another chain, binding him deeper into Shawshank's corruption. And yet, Andy does not let Norton's exploitation define him entirely. Even while serving as the silent accountant for a corrupt system, he continues to pour his energy into uplifting the men around him. The library he fought to expand becomes a sanctuary for learning and hope. Among those who benefit most is Tommy Williams, a brash but likable young inmate with a history of petty crime. Unlike many, Tommy shows a genuine desire to change. He is determined to earn his GED, and under Andy's patient guidance, his rough edges begin to soften. Andy sees in Tommy something he longs to protect, the possibility of a future not yet stolen by prison walls. For Tommy, Andy becomes not just a teacher, but a mentor and friend, instilling in him the belief that education could carve a path to freedom far greater than any escape tunnel. Then, in an almost casual conversation, Tommy delivers a revelation that shakes Andy to his core. He recalls a former cellmate from another prison, Elmo Blatch, a cruel, swaggering man who bragged about killing a golf pro and a woman in cold blood. Every detail of Blatch's story aligns perfectly with the murders Andy was convicted of years ago. For Andy, the weight of these words is overwhelming. After nearly 2 decades of suffering under a wrongful conviction, a window to the truth finally cracks open. For the first time, justice feels within reach. Andy, filled with quiet optimism, presents the information to Warden Norton, believing the man's professed devotion to God and morality will compel him to act. Instead, Norton's response is chilling. He recognizes immediately what Tommy's testimony means. Not Andy's salvation, but his own downfall. Without Andy, his money laundering empire would collapse. Coldly and without hesitation, Norton dismisses the evidence and shuts the door on Andy's hope. To ensure that the threat never resurfaces, he orchestrates a cruel scheme. Under the pretense of granting Tommy a meeting beyond the prison walls, Norton lures him into a trap. With Captain Hadley pulling the trigger, Tommy is executed in the night, his death staged as a failed escape attempt. The message is clear and merciless. SHAWSHANK is a cage with no exit, and those who challenge its order will be crushed. Andy, devastated, is thrown into solitary confinement. It is not a punishment for breaking rules, but for daring to dream of freedom. Weeks pass in darkness, with no sound but his own thoughts echoing in the concrete cell. Many would have broken under such isolation, but Andy clings to something untouchable, his inner sanctuary of music and memory. He recalls the day he commandeered the prison loudspeakers to play Mozart's The Marriage of Figaro, flooding SHAWSHANK's grim halls with soaring beauty. For one brief moment, every prisoner stood still, transported beyond the walls. It is that memory Andy carries into solitary, proof that freedom does not always require open skies. Later, when he emerges, weakened but unbroken, he explains it to Red. That's the beauty of music. They can't get that from you. Music for Andy is more than entertainment. It is defiance, a reminder that the spirit cannot be fully shackled. Though Norton has stripped him of hope for legal justice and even taken the life of an innocent young man, Andy's quiet rebellion remains alive. Emerging from solitary, Andy seems subdued, almost resigned. He speaks to Red of Zihuatanejo, a small coastal town in Mexico where he dreams of living free and running a hotel by the sea. He entrusts Red with a secret. If he ever finds himself free, he should seek out a volcanic rock beneath a great oak in Buxton. Beneath it, something important waits. Andy also asks Red for rope, alarming his friend, who fears Andy may take his own life. But instead, Andy vanishes. Overnight, SHAWSHANK awakens to discover Andy has escaped, leaving behind only an empty cell and a gaping hole hidden for decades behind posters of movie starlets. For nearly 20 years, he had chipped away at the wall with his rock hammer, smuggling debris into the prison yard. On a stormy night, he crawled through 500 yards of sewage pipe, emerging on the other side a free man, baptized by rain. Andy reclaims his stolen years with poetic justice. Wearing the warden's suit and shoes, he walks into banks under the name Randall Stevens, withdrawing $370,000 in laundered funds. He mails evidence of Norton's corruption to the press, toppling SHAWSHANK's crooked empire. The fallout is immediate. Hadley is arrested and Norton, cornered, takes his own life rather than face disgrace. Andy, meanwhile, disappears into the horizon, finally tasting the freedom he had been denied for so long. Red, after repeated parole denials, is finally released in 1967. The outside world overwhelms him, its pace, its alien freedoms, its indifference. Lodging in the same halfway house where Brooks met his end, Red feels the same despair pulling at him. Yet, unlike Brooks, he remembers Andy's words. Choosing life over surrender, Red travels to Buxton, finds the volcanic rock, and uncovers a hidden box containing money and a letter from Andy, inviting him to Zihuatanejo. With hope rekindled, Red violates parole and heads south. In his final narration, he admits, "I hope I can make it across the border. I hope to see my friend and shake his hand. I hope the Pacific is as blue as it has been in my dreams. I hope." On a sun-drenched beach, Andy and Red reunite, two men who endured Shawshank's hell and emerged not broken, but redeemed. Thank you for watching, and subscribe for more recaps.